JP Morgan traders are giving a pretty serious warning right now about the current stock market rally. I don't think people understand how this is working out. The story is coming out of Zero Hedge, and most people only see, their digits going up or down, right? The value of their portfolio going up or down. This same thing is happening in the crypto market on a different note. But I want to remind you that we just came out of what the eighth worst month for the S&P in history. It was bad. And I believe this is a sucker's rally. And right here, this is the title of the story. There isn't enough confidence to sustain this stock market rebound. JP Morgan traders are seeing very thin volumes. Okay. There are people that are trying to buy the dip right now in the stock market. And I don't think people realize those buyers are not very strong. And it's only when their money runs out, they've bought as much of the dip as they can, that there is still enough selling pressure to where things are going to start to dump. Now, I'm watching very closely for April 2nd. I think this is a very important day when these tariffs take effect. You're now starting to see Trump backpedal, honestly, saying, oh, you know what? They're not going to be as bad as, I'm paraphrasing, but they're not going to be as bad as, people are thinking. They're going to be less retaliatory. And it's not going to be that bad. Because I think what's happening is the White House is starting to figure out really quick how bad the economy is. The truth is, Biden's White House hid a lot of things. They lied straight to our faces. They printed money and put them places, and not to help you out, but just to cover up a crash in the market until he got in for a second term. I really do believe that was the plan. Type 1 if you agree with that. Type 2 if you think I'm nuts, but I really do believe that the Democrats were trying to push off a massive recession or a stock market crash until they were in, and then they could take advantage of Americans even more. All right. As we get into the story, I want to remind you today is the last day for the Tax Lien Pro Sale. If you want to learn how to invest, unlike 99% of real estate investors in there, you do not need a lot of money to start. Like, you buy tax liens of $250 and then work your way up to $250,000 tax liens. The cost is the cheapest. It's the cheapest course in the country. Honestly, you cannot get that much content. All of this to make it really easy, where you're bidding on these things from home in your pajamas and making money. It's a great deal. So if you want to look at it, the links down below. Last day for the sale. I think it ends at midnight. All right, it says here, the surges in market breadth that would give reassurance that the rebound in stocks is sustainable continue to be absent from price action. Stocks are off their March 13th lows, but still about 6% below their recent highs. The market is awaiting tariff headlines and what is actually enacted on President Trump's self-styled Liberation Day on April 2nd. It says, in fact, Goldman's trading desk confirms that they now have seen 3 of the 4 lowest volume days of the year in the last 4 sessions. That's very important to understand. When you see thin volume, it is no joke hanging on by a thread, this rally, okay? And I believe that with these attacks that the left is trying to push on Tesla this weekend, I think you're going to see some bad things coming. Now, luckily, the stock market's not open on the weekend. They're planning it for what, I think Saturday, maybe Friday afternoon. I don't remember. But my point being is that I don't really pay attention to too many crazy people, to be honest with you. Type 3 if you agree with that. It's good to sort of watch, oh, there's crazy people over there, but you don't get involved, all right? Because they're crazy, all right? But you have to understand that there are some crazy people that are also in very high positions of the stock market, and the money changers and the money printers. The thing is that their money printing scheme is stopping. It's coming to a halt very fast. They have been stealing our tax dollars and funneling it into their own pockets to control us even more and become richer and elitists. This is why everyone's been asking forever, how does somebody go from being a housewife or someone in the military goes to become a congressman or a congresswoman, and all of a sudden within 3 years they're worth uber millions of dollars? It's because they're on the take. That's it. And their spigot is being shut really fast, and they're freaking out. And also, I believe you're going to see in the next month revelations of not only that all of them are in on this, both left and right, Republicans and Democrats, and we need to vote them out. We need President Trump to push a term limit executive order so we can watch them squirm and find out which ones vote and agree with it, because they're going to fight it, which ones don't. And we need to make sure we do everything in our power to vote those people out. Those are the people that are on the take. And I have a feeling that if and when, I honestly believe Trump's going to do this, you're going to see a massive, like 99% of Congress people voting against it, because they're all going to be exposed. All of them. It's the easiest way to expose them. All right, now back to the stock market, because I think that the next 4 weeks are going to be very not kind. All right, I could be wrong, but I just don't think I am. It says, as Bloomberg macro strategist Simon White notes, when there are so many cross currents jostling the market, indicators based purely on price or breadth can be reliable guides for the likely path for stock indexes. After corrections, one of the biggest signs a bounce off the lows has legs is its breadth trust. It says here, the thrust signal activates when there is a surge in the number of stocks on the NYSE advancing relative to those declining, identifying times when there is rapid change from oversold to overbought conditions. I think we are seeing a moment where there are so many people that are afraid of what's about to come between tariffs and the IRS becoming slowly but surely abolished. There's so much uncertainty right now. The one thing that is certain is the housing market's turning down, that people are losing their credit scores, that people are more and more not paying their bills, okay? We are not heading into a recession. We're in one. I guarantee you, most of you agree, yes or no, that we've been in a recession for a long time. It's just that the government was lying to us, and they even went to the, I can't believe that Joe Biden actually said, I'm just going to change the definition. I can't believe that wasn't mainstream news, but the truth is the media is in on this too. This is absolutely appalling. You know, it's interesting. You know, some of us are business owners, some of us are employees. I've been both. And it's interesting to see the dynamic of how many people in this country on a daily basis have their pensions threatened, or the threat of being fired or demoted if they don't do what the boss says. Guys, how many of you have had that happen? Say, it's happened to me. If that's happened to you, it's happened to me personally as a firefighter. And, you know, it's so easy when you start looking at all this money that's been stolen through our tax dollars, how people up high, the owners of big corporations, are getting money, especially in media, getting paid to push a narrative. You saw it just recently with Facebook, where Facebook, Mark Zuckerberg came out and said, dude, we're being threatened daily by the White House during COVID to push a certain narrative, right? Well, the threat isn't that we're going to go and put you in jail. The threat is we're going to stop giving you money. Because the government pays Facebook. People don't understand this. Look at 23andMe. It's coming out right now. 23andMe was selling its DNA, right? Selling all that information. Why not? You know, one of the buyers? The government. This is why you should never give up your DNA. Who cares if you're related to some Irish dude in Japan, or you're 5% Native American? Honestly, you're giving up your freedom, and the government is taking information to steal and to take advantage of you someday. This is probably why YouTube doesn't want to share my videos. Guys, can you check if you've been unsubscribed? Trust me, it's a thing. You know, the fact is, you know, we've got to be our own sovereign people, and we've got to know all of these things that are happening and how they can get worse or how they can get better. You know, the crypto dip right now, I think it's going to get a little worse, to be honest with you. I still think so. And it's been showing. I've been correct. I said, hey, get ready. It's going to dip. Bitcoin's down still. The alts are really down. I look at it as an opportunity, but most people don't. But I guess that's just the difference between me trying to be an investor and others just speculating. And all they care about is price. They don't care about value, making money the day they buy an investment because they got it for the greatest price. They know the rate of return. But that happens in the stock market. And as the stock market continues to go down, people are more hesitant on, and I can guarantee you, government workers right now, one of the biggest injections of money into the stock market is through something called the TSP, or the government pension plan. It pushes so much money because the government is the largest employer in the world, right? Well, as people are getting fired, that's less people putting money in. And also, what happens is, being a government employee myself, I've seen how people play the TSP or they play their 401k and they'll pull back sometimes when things aren't good. They won't put as much money in. And this is a big issue because now you're losing a ton of buyers, right? Where fund managers have less money to go and buy stocks up. Um, that you only live once, that YOLO term. Remember, that is that's like during great times when people think things are going to go good. But I don't think people, I think most people think, regardless of who's in the White House right now, that things aren't good. Food is still exponentially higher than it was a few years ago. Energy costs and things like that are still much higher. Car costs are still high, even though all this stuff's coming down. It still doesn't stop the fact that a lot of us would love to go buy a new car, and you're like, I'm not going to pay that much. Sure, exotic cars and super expensive cars over $100,000 have come down, right? Because those buyers are drying up, because banks are drying up. I think people need to wake up to what's going on. Now, if you want an incredible opportunity investing, I'm not joking. I went through these cycles with everyone. Hey guys, check out gold. It's super cheap. It's like $1,500. Now look at it. Hey guys, look at Bitcoin. It was $3,200. Now look at it. Now I'm telling you, get ready for a real estate crash. But inside of a real estate crash, there's something you could do right now to make stupid amounts of money because tax liens are exploding. So here you go. Here's the cheapest class in the country. It's for what it is. Wait till you see it. Links down below. It's on sale. It's the last day for that sale. And then we're moving on to deeds. Because I think it's important that people learn how to do this. Because once you learn it, you'll never forget it. You'll always know how to go buy tax liens. Hey, I need to make more money than I can make in the bond market. All right, I'm going to get on and bid on some tax liens. Just like you bid on bonds. There's a little bit more to it, but I make it easy, step by step. And trust me, after you take the course, you'll go, that was the best, what is it, $199 you've ever spent. All right, with that being said, thank you so much for watching. The Economic Ninja is out.